I'm back. Well, what's it all about today? Well, scarily, it's all about cable and how it can cost you your amp. Oh yeah, it sounds stupid that you can take a cable and you can use it on your guitar amp and it can take out the amp. That's absolutely, you wouldn't believe it. Well, there are some guys out there who know all about this stuff. There are plenty that really don't. If you lose the amp, you lose the amp. So it's worth understanding a little bit. You don't have to be technical. So here's how this video came about. I've got the cables, I'm going to show you all that stuff. How it came about. Where is it? Here it is. I've got this cable here from Monster Cable, this one. It's a money cable, that is. Just trust me, here in England, these are money. And this particular one is a speaker cable. You know, it goes from the cab back up to the amp, goes into the speaker socket, which it would, or sockets, and everything's hunky-dory. Or at least it is, until you've got one that's not long enough. Now listen, this thing happens, it just happens. And some guys go and get a longer cable. This one happens to be, well, it's a guitar lead. Let's not beat about the bush. Yeah, some guys will go and get that, plug it in the back of the amp, run it down to wherever the speaker box is, like one of these maybe, who knows, and everything's great, right? You see, the thing is, it is hunky-dory until it goes wrong, and it will. Well, what prompted me to do this video, to make this video? Well, I'd got this monster cable, and by the way, no cables in this review, not a single one, have ever been sponsored or are being sponsored in any way. Yes, this is a video that I'm making, not somebody else. So this monster cable is a speaker cable. Yeah, when I was reviewing that ST amp, that ST20 head, not that long ago, well, I'd got all the heads piled up one above the other, and that makes 4 of them, if anybody's counting. And this cable isn't long enough. Actually, it'll be interesting to talk about more expensive cables as well, and are they really worth it? So let's start at the beginning. I could take a cable like this thing. This is a no brand cable. And I guess it's, well, I don't guess, I know it is. It's like a screened cable, a bit like a guitar cable. You could use it for linking between pedals and things like that if you really wanted to. But yeah, well, I wouldn't use it as a speaker cable. Now, among the rubbish on my bench here, I have actually got a pretty chunky cable that looks like it's for a speaker. Well, it better be, because that's where it's been, connecting speakers to amps. And here it is. This particular one just says, well, the Nutric connectors, and that's all it tells you. It tells you nothing else really. But if you pull this cable back, if you now have a look at what's on the screen, you can see yourself that it comprises of just 2 cables. A red and a black, in this case, could be any colours. But they're not, one of them isn't screened, if you get me, like a guitar cable might be. Yeah, like the one on the screen now. Well, this one, back to the speaker cable, it's purely 2 wires. And if you look at the wires, they're actually quite thick wires as well. And of course, there's got to be some sort of reason for that. Yeah, well, there is. And just so you get an idea, this guitar cable, this Roland one, I did show these a while back. As you can see on the screen now, it's very clearly got a screen and a main piece of, well, signal cable. But the thing is, you'll notice that this cable on this guitar cable is much thinner than the other one. Well, what's going to happen if we plug the guitar one into an amp like this one, say, or even this one? They're both at least 100 watts, and that's a bit of output power. So we plug it in the back and we run it down to the cab, and hey ho, it's all good. Well, not quite. It depends on the cable length as well, I think. But think of it like this. You've got this power coming out of this amp if you crank it all the way up. Well, even if you don't crank it all the way up, you still got a problem, because this will affect the matching, the ohms. You plug it into 16 ohms at either end, it's 16 ohms, right? Well, no, not when you use this type of cable. But there's another problem much more important than just a bit of a speaker mismatch. And this is really where, yeah, it could cost you an amp, literally cost you an amp, or at least an output transformer, or maybe one or two other things, maybe lots of other things. So this little cable here, you can see it, it's all serious stuff. Because what happens is, when you use the regular guitar cable, with it cranked, you'll probably find it'll start getting hot. And it's getting hot because of lots of things, but mainly that output power whipping down to the speaker through a very, very thin cable. It really is a thin cable. And coming back to the cable for the real speaker cable, shall we say, it's an entirely different beast. So that's why it's got big fat cable inside. Those two conductors, we'll call them that, substantially thicker. And of course there's one other thing with guitar cables, they're just basically built different, and for good reason. I'll just cover that while we're here. Does anybody ever, surely there's some out there, that have listened to Jimi Hendrix at the Isle of Wight? And if you do listen to Jimi Hendrix at the Isle of Wight, and Foxy Lady, which I've spoke about on a number of times, of occasions, should I say, well, he stops part way through. And the reason he stops, he's actually burst his trousers all the way round. So he puts his guitar down and goes round the back of the speakers to change his pants. I don't know how many people know that, but it is on a video somewhere, an unedited job. Yeah, so while he's changing his pants, you start hearing these coming over the speakers, really going into his amp. And what it is, it's the French radio stations coming from just 20 odd miles away and hitting the cable and going straight into his amp. Now, I don't know what cables he used at the time. Maybe it was those coiled cables, but maybe they weren't as good as they are today. But you don't sort of tend to hear that anymore. Maybe you unplug the guitar, which then makes this into an antenna. And you know, if it's making it into an antenna, or it's not shielded properly, you start getting all these spurious signals, like the radio station over in France. And this was just long enough to resonate like an antenna. So it goes straight into the front and you can hear it. Anyway, enough about all that technical sort of jargon. I want to come back to these speaker cables and the reason why actually I made this, other than just a bit of tittle-tattle. Yeah, last Sunday I was walking around this guitar show in Manchester, England, as they say in America. And I came across these. Not at the show, funny enough, but I did come across them when I'd got back and I was looking around. I didn't really find, I didn't want to spend such a huge amount of money on a couple of speaker cables, if you want the truth. So I went on to my friendly Amazon, in this case, and guess who'd made them? Yeah, Ernie Ball speaker cables, and it tells you a lot on here. And I'm going to tell you a lot on here too, and by the way, like I said, it's not sponsored. In any case, here it is. I might put a picture on the screen of the front and the back of this as I'm rambling on about them. I'm not going to hop on all day because it's not a sales video. I'm just telling you what I bought, and that's important. It's very important when it comes back to what these darn things cost compared to some of them. Anyway, Ernie Ball says this. He says, These speaker cables feature a high quality design made with superior components that are built to last. Well, they all say that. The 16 gauge conductor deliver a reliably clear signal, and the durable PVC jacket exterior ensures long lasting performance. Really? It's just sales, isn't it? Don't correct me. 99.95 oxygen free copper. I'm not interested in that. Dual stranded 16 AWG. I might be interested in that. Durable PVC jacket. Sure. Natural transparent sound. That's subjective. Roadworthy construction. Well, it might be. You make your own mind up in a minute. Unlimited lifetime warranty. Now that is the little bit that I wanted to talk about as well. Ernie Ball, repair and replace an defective cable as long as it is owned by the original retail purchaser with proof of purchase. Yeah, and you're always going to lose the invoices, aren't you? So buy it off some character like Amazon where it's online and you can go and get the invoice any time. That's what I say. These, by the way, were 6 foot long, and that's what takes me to these cables. And they are something different. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit and let you have a close look at these cables, because I think there's more to them than meets the eye. Okay, well, I've sort of taken it upon myself to cut this one open for you. I don't care. It's quite safe. Yeah, so if you peel this back a bit, you might be able to see this, or you might not. It is 2 separate connectors, and it's shrouded with this material, and that's how it comes when it's all together. So I'm just going to screw that back together. So there it is. What I like about it is this. It's actually telling you it's a speaker cable. I know that sounds stupid, but when you start getting these cables, they all look pretty much the same. So there it is. It says speaker on one side. I think it says Ernie Ball on the other, just so you can see that. Let's go back. Okay, so that's the Ernie Ball cable, and it really is quite brilliant. It's brilliant for 2 reasons. The first reason is its build quality and the cable. But the second reason, it's not so obvious. But here in England, these were about £18 a piece. I could have bought speaker cables from Amazon. Go and check yourself. Oh, literally from just a few pounds. Similar length, similar this. But they didn't really actually add up to being the same as the sum of these. And remember that warranty. I've always said warranty, great thing, fantastic thing, and it's all included. But it takes me further, because most guys, that don't know could plug in any cable and it will zap your amp. I know. I'm going to get some hate mail for this. Here's my £18 or £18.50 cable. That's probably about $24. And then you go look at them other brands. I'm not even going to name them, although I could. And I've seen cables like this from them other brands for £50 and £60 for a cable, which is $60, $70 or $80. There's something ridiculous. And some of the comments on the back of this thing about 99.95% oxygen-free copper. Listen, natural, transparent, this and that. I don't believe any of it. People will tell me, I can hear the difference. They all tell me all this rubbish. I don't hear any difference. I wanted a cable that is a 2-pronged cable, or should I say a 2-centered piece, rather than the other stuff that you use for your guitar. And this fits the bill. As far as I'm concerned, why spend £50 or £60 when I can spend £18 on really a top-of-the-line cable? And these are, in my opinion, top of the line. That's why I bought them. And with a lifetime guarantee. What is there to not like? Think about it, won't you? So that's my little chat on cables for today. Don't forget to subscribe, will you? Ring that bell, do that thumbs up thing, and subscribe. I need subscribers like everybody else. It costs me money to do all this stuff. Yeah. Oh, what's coming up next? Yeah, here it is. Obviously, I'm still working on it. You can't have your pound of flesh for now. You can see it's still got filler and stuff. Yeah, it's actually got quite a lot to do yet, but I'm going to colour this a different colour. There's the other colour, a nice sort of green, but I'm going to redo the top because I wanted to, and that should turn into a very interesting little project. And yeah, I've got this one coming up. I'm not going to be doing it for a few weeks, but it is coming up. And once again, I actually bought this one. Nobody asked me to do it or anything like that. There it is. Yeah, you can probably see it on screen now. It's a Black Country Customs spiral array, it says here. Yeah, all an interesting little pedal. And no doubt I'll get around to doing that when I get a chance. Well, why aren't I going to be doing it now? Well, it's very simple, because I'm going over to the USA to say hello for a few weeks. So that's it for now. Don't forget to whip across to TonyMcKenzie.com. Yeah, website's actually been moved to a newer server, and it should be just about grease lightning by now. Yeah, don't forget to go across there, have a look, see what's going on. There's no playing on this because I can't play one of these really. Can you? And with that, I'll leave you to it until next time. Good to hear you, good to see you. Just a quick cable review. Now get out of here.